Okay, so as previously mentioned, everyone knows that it rains a lot in the Pacific Northwest. Usually, it's what I call the Northwest drizzle. It's just a lid over the world and damp all the time. But every once in a while, it dumps buckets. And it's during one of those times that I was living in a 3/4 basement unit at the end of a dead-end street. You know, the next thing to my left was a highway. And it had been raining for a couple of days. And I wake up, and I step out my door, and I walk up to street level, and I see that there is a massive puddle that's forming right at my doorstep. And what I didn't know when I moved in is right next to my house is the only storm drain in a 3-block radius. And that storm drain was clogged. So what do? I go, okay, well, I don't want my house to flood. I kind of like the things that I have. So I find a broom handle, the longest, straightest object I could find, and I shove it down in the storm drain, and I try and see if I can find the clog, see if I can fix the clog so the puddle can just go its own way. Can't do either of those things. So I think, okay, well, short of trying to make it stop raining, what's the best way to get rid of all this water? I think, oh, a siphon. See, leading to that highway that's to the left of my house is a big old hill. There's no one at the bottom of it except cars. If I can flush all this water down the hill, then I'm going to be home free. Okay. So I go to my upstairs neighbor. I've had maybe 4 conversations with this guy, and I say, hey, do you have a garden hose I could use? Maybe, somewhere in the yard. So I fish around in the muck and grime that is his yard because it has been raining for 2 or 3 days, and I find this garden hose, and it is the oldest, most kinkiest garden hose you have ever seen, but it will work, I think. So I drag this garden hose to the storm drain. I shove one end of the hose down the storm drain, and I throw the other end down the hill, and I walk down the hill towards the other end because I have to start this siphon. Now, before you start, I'll tell you something that I didn't know at that time. And that something is that all the sewer mains, they were fine. Okay, this water was dirty, but it wasn't dirty. Okay, so there I am at the bottom of this hill. I'm trying to get all the kinks out of this hose. It's in the top. I'm at the bottom. There's really only one way that this water is going to get up and down towards me, and that way is me. So there I am at the business end of this hose. And have you ever turned on a hose full blast and you can kind of see the water in the hose as it's wriggling about? So here I am, bottom of this hill, business end of this hose, and I'm watching it just kind of wriggle towards me and hoping that I can get away fast enough. Nope. See, the water is dirty, but it wasn't dirty, which is probably why I'm standing here today. So I start that one siphon and I go, okay, well, that was nasty, but the flow is pretty good. I mean, it's flushing down the hill. I think I'm home free. So I go about my day, continues to rain. I come back to the house. I check to make sure my well-deserved siphon is still doing its job, and it is, so I go to bed. I wake up. Well, let's pause there. So if that was the end of the story, it would be called the One Hose Special. So I wake up the next day, and that puddle, it's gotten just a little bit bigger, and my siphon is doing its job, but not doing it fast enough. So I have to go around to all of my neighbors, with whom I have never had a conversation with, and say, hey, hi, I'm Morgan. I'm at the end of the street. You got a garden hose? It's kind of a weird thing to ask your neighbor the first time around. 4 of them did. 4 and 1 is 5. I have 5 hoses. Come trucking back to my end of the street with 4 more hoses, stick 4 more ends into that storm drain because, by golly, I think I actually love my stuff that much. Maybe I don't. We're about to find out. I throw the other hoses down the hill and I tromp after them. And I've had a question posed to me before. I think this question has been posed to everybody. What's worse, the unknown or the knowledge of something coming at you? And I say that while the unknown is big, the knowledge that this something is coming at me 4 more times is a lot bigger and a lot nastier. But it did, and I got quicker. By the 5th hose, I was, not going there. 5 hoses, just buckets flushing down this hill, and I was home free. Did not stop raining. And I would like to say that my 5 hose special saved all of my things from getting flooded, but really I think what saved them all, landlord arrived the next day with a sub pump. So I guess the actual title to my story is the 5 hose special. Subtext, God saved the sub pump.